Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for joining me in the locker room on this July 21st. I'm Alan Locher. One of the greatest dance artists of all time, Kristine W, is sitting down with me today to look back at her nearly 25 years in music, where she has consistently delivered songs that touch hearts and souls and compel bodies like mine to find their mighty groove out on the dance floor. She has had 17 number one singles, tying Mariah Carey for the sixth most Billboard number one dance hit. Kristine is lighting up the dance floors this summer with her new single, By My Side, the second soulful pop groove from her soon to be released album. The song is a celebratory homage to the people in our lives who give us unconditional love, support, and friendship, no matter what the circumstances are. Don't forget that Kristine W made an appearance and sang in Oakdale on As the World Turns 21 years ago. Please help me welcome this dance music icon, Kristine W, to the locker room.
Hey, how are you, Alan?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to talk to you.
Yes, I'm excited to be here too. You look so handsome, Alan. You're a handsome man.
Well, thank you very much. You're a beautiful, beautiful woman. 21 years ago, we met when you appeared on As the World Turns, and as a gay man and a man who definitely loves to dance, I was thrilled when I learned you would be joining us in Oakdale. I asked you backstage. I couldn't remember how it came to be, but it probably is someone a big fan on the staff in Oakdale.
Yes,
Do you have that?
There's a big fan. I was told there was a big fan that was pretty important. That was as part of you guys' team, and insisted that I do this particular scene
episode.
Episode, and then it was right during the filming of the Stronger music video, and you guys, so you guys recreated basically what we had created in Hollywood, and that
it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny because I couldn't remember sort of the circumstance. I knew you played in our nightclub on the show. I remember the visuals in my head. And then Larry sent me that clip, which I'm going to play right now because why not? We have it. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
Babies are finally asleep, and I've got my fifth win.
It's crazy because I remembered those visuals, and I was looking for photos. Do you remember? I mean, you remember that you were filming the Stronger video. That's pretty impressive.
And it was crazy because you guys it was so weird to go from LA, get on a flight, and go onto your set, and they had pretty much created kind of what we had done with the video with the string lights and everything. And I was just like, this is so impressive. How in the heck could they have known what we were doing in Hollywood?
The magic.
I had a full-size Frisian horse in these, lights, and then we took the horse out, and it was my horse, and he was beautiful. And
the magic of television, right?
Yeah, but you guys recreated the whole scene. It was amazing. Yeah, no, I'll never forget it. That was really, really fun, and the energy on that set was insane. I'd never even watched a soap opera before, so being on, so I had no idea what I was even getting myself into. Besides, it was super famous with my mom's friends and just, a lot of different friends. A lot of people were just, absolutely didn't miss an episode. They knew all the characters. But I came on and I didn't know anything. So I was so nervous because I'm like, okay, they're all famous. I know they're all super famous. And then here comes this person, in there that doesn't really, I performed in Vegas. I was performing in Vegas, and we, the last show, we didn't get off. The last show was probably I think the last show in Vegas was 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning, So, I mean, Vegas is late. So I never watched any daytime TV anyway, because we had rehearsals during the daytime for the Vegas show. Yeah. So all of it was a foreign world, but I fell in love with Eileen.
She's
Yeah.
88 or 89 years old today.
Happy,
So
oh, well, happy birthday, happy everything. What an amazing woman. I
she's
mean,
kicking it. She's really kicking it. You have a new song out. I love it. Tell me about By My Side, the message behind the song.
well, it's, just a lot of times people they're there for us all the time, and you take them for granted sometimes, or you don't really call them out or celebrate them or say thank you or, and it's, just it's just paying homage to those people that stay with us, stay by our side. Loyalty, it's such a precious commodity and it's so rare. And, you know, we appreciate it so much. It's so valuable. It's really priceless, but it's just, I don't remember too many songs about it. So I need to write a song about that. And I started writing it 20 years ago, honestly, and I never got the right bridge. I'm like that with a lot of my songs. I've got another one like that that's on my new album that's coming out. I start these songs like, 20 years ago, as a kid, or 25 years, as a kid, and then, they just evolve, and it just sometimes it's just not the right bridge, or it's just not the right B section, or something's wrong with the chord progression, and then I sit on it until it's just right. Yeah.
Where do you if you started writing that 20 years ago, where is that sitting in your home? Is it in your head? How did you, remember, I've got this?
Yeah, I just go back to them. I have my kids will tell you it makes them insane. I'll have papers with lyrics written all over the house, right? And then I'll put them into a folder, and then I'll revisit those folders with the lyrics and things. And sometimes I'll find an old demo that's kind of beat up. I mean, now it's kind of tough because a lot of the cassettes that we remember, the cassette tape, right? A lot of them, they don't even work anymore because they got too hot or they got too whatever. So much for those demos. But yeah, I mean, I kind of really just go to those folders with those songs, and I never forget a melody. If I write a melody, I never really forget it ever. Yeah.
That's incredible. Well, going back to By My Side, I heard you say that you learned about the importance of supportive friends and family on the oncology floor of UCLA when you were battling leukemia. Talk about, going through something as difficult as that and the importance of those bonds for you, helping you through it.
Oh yeah. Well, it was, that is a traumatic experience. And I mean, everybody's been through horrible experiences, but I guess, especially when you have leukemia or cancer and it's bad, I think it's difficult because a lot of people, it makes them have to face their own mortality, and they get scared and they kind of shy away from you. They don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about that. I mean, I wrote a song about that too, but it's very important for people to show up. And I mean, part of it was my fault too. I didn't want anybody to know I had leukemia. I mean, I didn't tell a lot of people because I didn't want to be perceived as damaged goods. And I think there's a lot of people that get ill or something's wrong with them, and you're in show business where you're supposed to be perfect, and I was in pageants, I was in those worlds where perfection is
Everything.
Value. Perfection is value, right? So I felt damaged, and I was like, where's Kristine W? She's not going to be here anymore. There's just going to be whatever is left of Kristine W by the time we're done with all this, if I live, you know what I mean? So it was, you're bald headed, you have no hair on, you look like a crazy, you know what I mean? You look like an alien, and I literally lived at UCLA for a year, and it was pretty traumatic experience. But it was, I had my family came to visit, and they really, a lot of people couldn't come in there anyway. It's an oncology ward, so you didn't see people for months on end. I got to see my kids like every, I think, 6 weeks or something. I moved.
Wow.
Yeah, they were like babies at that time. There's like 1 and 2, and a half, 1 and 2.5, I think. So It was,
And that I'm sure adds another level as well, that they were so young for you.
yeah. So you're literally fighting to stay alive, so they remember like who was mom, right?
Well,
So you're fighting like a tiger. So it's just, yeah, I'm just really grateful to be here. I'm one of the few that lived at that time. They really did not have a lot of they were just trying things on us. UCLA was a research, thank goodness, hospital at that time, and they were trying all these different things. And a stem cell transplant was brand new. I mean, that was revolutionary. Like if you could survive it, that was this is available, but not many will survive it. I mean, total body radiation. I mean, yeah, a lot of people didn't survive that either. So they were trying all these things to get you into remission, and you don't have any options, so we do it, and you just pray a lot, and you get through it, and we made it, and I'm really grateful.
well, you look terrific.
Yeah,
Are you feeling great? You feel great?
I'm feeling pretty good. You have your days, but I'm feeling pretty spry, I must say.
That is awesome. You minored in music in college. Tell us what you majored in and who your dad wanted you to be. I love that story.
Oh yeah, no, he really, my stepdad, I named my first album, or dedicated my first album, Land of the Living, which was my first successful album to him. And he wanted me to he was obsessed with, well, he loved Barbara Walters, but he really loved Diane Sawyer. Like, he thought she was it. He wanted me to be a broadcast journalism. He didn't want me to do music at all. No way. So I kind of appeased him, and I, signed into the journalism classes at college, and I got a communications degree, and then I minored in business, and then I minored in music, and then I did all the other things, marketing. I did all of the other things that I wanted to do. But yeah, he really wanted me to be the next. Oh, you're going to be the next Diane Sawyer. You're going to be the Barbara Wawa. You're going to be. Yeah, he's like, music's terrible. You don't want to do music. It's too hard. It's all political. You think the pageants were political? They're going to eat you alive, Chrissy. You're too nice. You'll never survive. So yeah. But he never denied my talent. He said, "You're a great singer. You're a great songwriter." But I don't want you submitted to that. No way. And my mom was a club singer. She was a professional musician, but she played the small clubs, and she played guitar and sang, and small rooms, very calm. She was a request artist, so people would come in and request songs, and she'd sit on, her stool with her legs crossed, with her cool gown, and she looked like $1 million. She looked like Liz Taylor, and she would just, sing. It was nice and calm, and you know what I mean. But I wanted to do the showbiz and the thing. I wanted to.
You set out on a mission. You set out on a mission.
I sure did.
What's your earliest memory of singing?
In church, at the First Congregational Church, so Lutheran church. When I was a kid, probably, I think it was 8 years old, was about the time that I could hold the guitar upright. They had a Baby Martin. My mom had a Baby Martin. I played that. And I used to play it on my lap when I was little. My grandma, kind of taught me how to do that. And then, but you really had to have the guitar like this. So as soon as I was old enough to play it with the guitar this side up, instead of on my lap, that's when I performed at church, yeah. And I just started doing it almost every Sunday, and my grandma would teach me a new hymn. My grandma Muriel would teach me a new hymn every week or every other week. And I got to be like this phenom, here, come see this kid, perform with this big voice. She plays her guitar, and her voice is really big, like she doesn't need a microphone or anything. So, yeah.
I'm sure the church bells were ringing. Watching your mom do this, what was that like, and what do you think you took away from watching? Just even in the little clubs, you must have learned a lot watching her.
Well, I mean, I definitely learned that music is medicine, and you would see people come in, and I used to stand in the back of the room, or I'd hide underneath the benches because I wasn't old enough. When you're a little kid, you could kind of slide underneath the bench. The audience would be looking at my mom this way, and I'd be under the bench, you know, peering, and nobody even knew I was there. But or I'd be standing in the kitchen peering. But I just the power of music and how healing it was. You'd see people that came in after work at, you know, she played happy hour every night, and happy hour was 6 to 11 where she was, you know, where we were in Tri-Cities. And she played a place called the Owl's Nest, which was on the river, and the people would all come in there after work. And it was like they were so battered when they got to the door. But then, you know, after a while, she's passing around the sing-along sheets, and everybody's singing along all these cool old songs. And it's just that sense of how music brought people together and literally healed them from whatever torture they were going through, you know. And it just really, I was like, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that musical medicine right there.
That I love that phrase, musical medicine. It's so true. You credit another legend, Donna Summer, with instilling the love of dance in you. What talk about Donna's influence on you.
Well, Donna Summer, you know, when I was a kid, you're singing at church, and then you're listening to, you listen to Donna Summer, and she's got that kind of gospelish tone, and then those background vocals, which are very gospel, you know, like gospel choir-ish, and it's just the fusion of those, you know, fusing all that together, and then people can dance to it, and it was just so positive, so uplifting, so everything that and then also the topics, you know, bad girl, you sad girl, you know, they're talking about all kinds of stuff that's going on, you know what I mean, that's real. And just the realness of her music, and she was the songwriter too. I mean, as a kid, I was already starting to write songs, you know, sitting at the piano all day writing these songs when I was a kid, and just knowing that she was writing the songs too is really powerful to me. So, you know, because I was kind of just super obsessed with the songwriting, the whole process of it. And I was always riding around on my bicycle on the weekends, doing yard sales and grabbing vinyl, and I'd take it home, and me and my grandma would sit and listen to all these different artists, you know, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, and she would tell me, okay, go out, and I had a basket on my bike, and we would just do music all the time. It was just, Grandma Muriel,
people say certain careers or certain things are in your blood. Music, seriously, was in your blood from the minute you were born.
Totally. I mean, my siblings loved it, but not crazy like me. It was just like there was just really nothing else going on except for that. Like you couldn't engage in a serious conversation with me about anything else except for something that had to do with show business, or maybe sports, because I started gravitating into sports because I love the competitive part of sports.
Competition. You mentioned starting songwriting at such an early age. Could you even give me a number of how many songs you think you have written from that time to today?
Gosh, yeah, because only a small percentage ever gets recorded.
Right.
And I tell people, for those 12 songs that you hear, I've probably written at least 36 to 40 that just got shelved, that didn't make the cut after a while. And I'm doing that right now with this new album. I've done a bunch of songs, and then I'm just picking the best of the best, and because once you put it out there, you can't take it back. And I think I'm probably, as my kids and my friends say, are a little bit too much of a perfectionist. But I always think I don't want to ever go, ew, ooh, that one, we should have not put that one out there. I mean, that one should have stayed in the, So I'm just careful about what I put out there. And but I would say, oh gosh, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Hundreds, yeah, I would assume. And you play the piano, you play the guitar, you play the saxophone. Anything else you've learned over the years?
I learned to play bass guitar. Yeah, I mean, yeah, guitar, bass guitar, drums. I'm a pretty good percussionist and a drummer. Yeah, I'm pretty good at that one.
Does
Just,
it
yeah, I
come
kind
easy
of,
to you?
well, I mean, it didn't in the beginning, but I was doing my college band and I was, I had a high school band, I had a junior high band. I had bands all the time, and then different people wouldn't show up for the gig, whatever we were doing, whether it was a high school dance or a junior high dance. I mean, I started doing bands, putting bands together really young, or singing with other people's bands. So you learn to just do the basics when people wouldn't show up. I'll never forget it. Somebody didn't show up for like a junior high dance or something, and I was, and so we were trying to do these songs, and it was boogie oogie oogie, get down boogie. And we had no bass player, and I was like, okay, that's it. I'm learning how to play bass. Never gonna happen to me again. Because it's so bass heavy, right? And there's no bass. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this again. I'm gonna at least have the basics. It served me well, because in Vegas, it happens a lot, and with college bands and stuff, it happens a lot where people don't show up for the gig. You're like, okay, what happened? They're not here. Yeah.
Wow. Besides Donna, in high school, who were some of your favorite artists?
I love Donna Summer, Chaka Khan. I feel for you. I think I love you. Yeah, love Chaka Khan. Patti LaBelle was always one of my favorites. Lady Marmalade, was just like such a staple for me. I think that's one of the first songs I put in my Vegas show with all the girls. We were all had choreography with all this chair choreography and stuff, being the ladies of the night, all 5 of us lined up there, and that was pretty hot. And then, I got to do a duet with her on her Classic Moments album. So that was a bucket list moment when she called and said, I love your song.
Is that a pinch yourself moment?
Completely. Yeah, getting flown to LA and being in the recording studio with Patti LaBelle. Now that is something to brag about. She's one of my great memories.
Totally. So you won all of the local talent contests back home in Pasco, Washington, but then you won Miss Washington and went on to compete for Miss America, winning 2 categories. Tell us those categories and the impact of winning that for you.
Well, I won swimsuit and I won talent, and I think the impact was that I knew I could go somewhere to school, to college, that was going to happen for me now. Because before, I had a single mom. My dad passed away when I was 3, and there was no avenues really to go to college. So, and I knew there was nothing that was going to happen for me in Eastern Washington. I mean, I had these goals that I was going to go to New York or LA or California or someplace there, that where I could perform on a bigger stage and take my music to a bigger audience. And so, I mean, I went to California first and visited a friend of mine that was going to school there. And then I drove to Vegas, and my sister had a friend that had an apartment, and she had basically a room. I don't even know. It seemed like a closet to me available. And so it was more like a closet. So yeah, I just put a mattress on the floor and decided, well, no matter what, I know there's enough live performing going on in Vegas. I can put myself through school and see if I'm good enough to compete with the people that are here. So, that was a smart move, because in Vegas you learn everything, and everybody plays here. So, and you're competing not only with all the other people that are on stage, you're competing with slot machines, and you're competing with big shows. You're competing with so much. So you just bring your A game, I mean, you learn.
Pulling people away from those slots is hard, isn't it?
Ooh, let me tell you what. Yeah. And Vegas is pretty brutal, especially you play the smaller rooms. During that time, it was, how many drinks have you sold? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, what's your, and they would be like, I don't know about the repertoire, like what are you playing? You were micromanaged on your show, like how many drinks you would sell, because they make a fortune on cocktails in Vegas. They still do. They make so much money off. Celebrate.
Wow. You
Yeah.
were sort of introduced to the world of not just music, but business at such, like you knew Vegas, you could test everything out and do it all and create it there. And you
Oh yeah,
did.
and you listen to people. I mean, the pit bosses were great. I mean, they were brutal, absolutely brutal. But they'd say, I really like that Winona Judd number you did. That was a good one. They'll critique you. That was a good one. I like the chaps with the fringe. That's a good one. You know what I mean? And then they'd go, when you do this medley, I did a Chaka Khan medley that went on for, I don't know, 12 minutes or something. It was long. And then did the Donna Summer medley that was like 15 minutes of all of her hits. And they say, when you do those medleys, we make a lot of money at the tables. You do some more of those medleys. Yeah, they would literally tell you. Everybody, I don't know, the music is really powerful. It's really powerful. And you
Wow, that's
learn
incredible.
like different songs, different artists, different music gets the party going. I remember they would say, "Oh man, I remember the first time we did the CNC Music Factory. Everybody dance now." It was just like, I was getting all these pit bosses going like this, and you know what I mean. It was, yeah.
That's, it's fascinating too, because I mean, I do like all types of music, but I love, no kidding, I love to dance, and thinking what you do with your own music and with Shaka and Donna that you're bringing into your shows. My God, you are totally, I can see, that room in Vegas, you're energizing them and making them have this experience. And that's why you were successful. That's why they were buying drinks. They were
Yeah.
having the time of their lives.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, then you take that out and you kind of take that out into the world and you try to bring some joy. That's what we're here to do, right, Alan?
How fun was it to create your first Vegas show? Do yourself?
I mean, I wouldn't call it fun. It was like a lot. Yeah, I would not call it fun. It was a lot of work. You have dancers and musicians, and sometimes they get along, sometimes they really don't. And I found that the more talented the people were, sometimes the more difficult they were to deal with. And they have a lot of issues. A lot of them, and unfortunately, if you're the boss, there wasn't that many. I mean, I think I was the only female band leader, production leader that I knew of, that was like running the whole show, was producing it, was doing the music, was, paying the people, was doing, doing the costumes, was coming up with all the creative, So I was the only one that I knew. I really didn't have anybody to call either. And everybody competes against each other in Vegas in the scene. So it's not like you can call and say, "Hey, what do I do?" So, I mean, I leaned on my mom a lot, but my world was so foreign to her because she'd never done anything like that. She would just say, "I'm
On
so
that
glad."
scale.
Yeah, no, she'd say, "I'm just so glad that I got to sit on my stool and sing my songs, Kristine, knock yourself out." She just did not understand the drive to do that at all. So she enjoyed it though. She loved it. She spent a lot of time at my shows flying in. We had so
I
much fun.
bet. I
Yeah,
can only imagine what it's like performing for your mom like that on stage. It's
amazing.
probably amazing.
But I would not say it was fun. It was a lot of work, and it's hours of rehearsal, and it's a lot of personality management, and so it was very taxing. I will tell you that. At one time,
You're sort of, I did PR for As the World Turns and Guiding Light, 2 shows with 30 actors on each show.
oh, so you know the drill.
You know, you are really like a PR person in a lot of ways. You're managing so many personalities in one space.
And you're a therapist, and you're a bank. Oh, I can't make my rent. Can you? I need
Yeah.
$500. I mean, just every crisis that happens, you're fixing stuff. You're constantly fixing stuff, and I'll never forget my mom telling me, she's like, you know, she listened to all these conversations going on, and she'd come to my dressing room and people would be filing in and out with all these crises and things that happened. And, oh, I broke my guitar neck. I need this, I need that. And you know what I mean? It was just, my mom said, at some point you're going to need to get your own, you're going to have children, because you've raised so, you know, you're a kid raising all these kids, but at some point you need to have your own kids, you know what I mean? And she kept telling me that all the time, because you'd be the best mother. Look at all the crises that you've dealt with.
She was right. That's amazing. Besides their talent, dancers or your musicians, what else did you, you know, since it, you know, you were responsible for picking and choosing, you know, how did you look at that personality, or, you know, how did they win you over besides just that talent?
You know, I would take on the ones that were more talent. I mean, a lot of people would go, I would call and I'd say, hey, how is this bass player to work with? Or how is this drummer to work with? And they said, I would not, too difficult. Nope, I would not do it. I will say, I was the one that would take those difficult ones. You know, there was only a few people that people go, oh yeah, easy to work with. I mean, I had the best musicians. I will say I had the best musicians hands down. That's why we always won, you know, best show, best everything. But they were not easy to. A lot of them were not easy to deal with for real. You know, I mean, my mom, you know, I guess, you know, and the entertainment directors would say that, you know, they would say, oh gosh, I can't believe what you deal with. But, you know, at the end of the day, the shows were fantastic, and people still talk about those shows. The dancing was stupendous. I mean, the quality of the dancers, all my dancers, when I closed that, you know, my 6 nights a week show down, when I closed it down, pretty much everybody in my cast went to Broadway. I mean, wow. And they're still there. You know, they were good enough. They were at that level awesome. To just, you know, go right to Broadway. So I'm very proud of that. And I had a lot of them that went straight to Broadway, or they went to other, you know, big shows, and they stayed, you know, in the field, and they're still there. So I'm just super proud of that. So, you know,
you should be.
You got to, you know, it pays to believe in people and invest the time in them. And, you know, even if you don't see it at the time, you know, now I'm looking back and I think, boy, you know, I'm just glad that I was positive and I reinforced that person, because that makes my heart happy now, you know? Yeah.
That really is. What took you to Europe?
Just the music scene here was, you know, I'd been driving back and forth to Los Angeles when I was going to UNLV. It was like every other week I'd drive my old beat up Cutlass, you know, fingers crossed, to California and record literally for free, just in exchange for studio time. I would go and write songs with the songwriters there. And the company was called Jam Power. And so I would basically do like trades. Okay, well, I'm writing this song with this person, and you can, you know, for other artists or whatever, we would just trade off, or I would come and sing background vocals for somebody's record for free, so that I could have, you know, a couple hours of recording time to record one of mine. So I did that for, you know, probably 2 years nonstop, and did jingles for radio stations here and there for, you know, you'd be there the whole day for $20. You know, I mean, it was just, you make enough money to drive yourself back or whatever to Vegas. It was crazy, but I just learned so much, you know, my way around the recording studio so much. And I met a lot of really, really talented people, co-writing with them, singing on their records. And, you know, people like Janet Jackson would come through, you know, Chucky Booker was there. There was, you know, Rex Salas. I mean, he's one of the premier musical directors. Chucky Booker is, I think he's Lionel Richie's musical director. But none of us had any, you know, accolades or anything. But we were, you know, you kind of didn't last at Jam Power if you weren't a good songwriter and a great artist. You know what I mean? It was traumatic at the time because it was so difficult. But looking back at it, it was a great university, recording university. Basically.
And you recorded your first album in London, correct?
Well, that was Jampower. I was recording at Jampower at the time, and it was all R&B, right? And I wanted to do dance, and so those were great songs and everything. I loved them, but I wanted to do dance music, house music, and everything there was R&B. So I knew I was gonna, by this time I was in Vegas with my show, and I knew I had to go to Europe if I was going to be able to write songs and do house music. The house music wasn't popular here. It just really wasn't. They still called it. It was dance, it was house, but everything was R&B, and we just had dance remixes. Hector would do a dance remix of an R&B song. You couldn't do a dance album. Nobody wanted to do that. So I had to go overseas and do it. I went to London, and just it happened kind of by accident. One of the record guys that owned a record company in London was over hanging out in Vegas and gambling and partying, and he heard me singing. Yeah, he heard me singing in the smaller room that I was in before they built the nightclub. It was called the Tina Turner Lounge, and he heard me singing, and he thought I was lip syncing. He couldn't, so yeah, and he kept asking everybody. He was running around the pits, asking, is she lip syncing? Is that live? That couldn't be coming out of her mouth, right? So he extended his trip, and he stayed for 3 nights just watching me. And then he sent somebody, a fellow named Joey Carvello, to ask me to fly to London to work with a producer. And I said, well, I want to hear the production that we're talking about, So he came in with and played with a boombox of all things, and played one of Rollo Armstrong's productions. I was like, yeah, I'll be on that plane. I think I only listened to like 3 minutes of the production. I was like, this is exactly what I want to do.
Well, he heard the voice, and as one of your fans, G, just said, Kristine's voice is a gift from God. So.
And I always am grateful for that.
Absolutely. One of the fans, DY, asked, which remix of Feel What You Want do you like best? Do you have a favorite?
I will say I love Bimbo Jones's version. I loved Rollo's original version. I loved Junior's version, was really cool, the marathon mix. And the new one I really love by Kashmir Ray. So that's the latest one. So that'll be on the new album. I always reinvent that song because it's such a neat song. So we I don't know, we just always keep doing new remixes of it because everybody's playing it anyway. So I might as well have a new mix. You know what I mean? It just pops up all the time. So
it's awesome when so many artists are doing that today, and I think it's great. It just brings new life, right?
Completely. Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Super fun.
What song do you remember hearing it on the radio for the first time?
Feel What You Want, or any of my songs?
Your first song that was on the radio.
Oh, my first song that was on the radio that I heard was was One More Try in New York. I know I was at the RCA. I was having my first meeting at RCA, and I'd never been to the offices in Times Square. So I went past the Elvis. They had a big deal of Elvis there, and the big statue of Elvis. And I was just completely overwhelmed by the whole experience. I was just like in shock, right? Oh my gosh, I'm signed to RCA because that British company signed me over to RCA. So so that was while I'm sitting in Bob Jameson's office, and KTU is playing through the whole, all of RCA. KTU played nonstop on that floor. And then One More Try came on, and I just started crying in his office like a big buffoon, and I'd never met him. So he walked in and he's like, "What's wrong?" What happened? And I, and then I put it in a song called "Song Lives On," but I said, There's nothing wrong. It's just the radio's on and they're playing my song. That's my song. So that's for Larry. Yeah.
Can't imagine what that experience is like. But speaking of KTU, you performed about a month ago at Jones Beach at their WKTU Euphoria concert. I am so bummed I missed it. What a lineup of talented women performing. Was that incredible?
Amazing. It was so amazing. Honestly, it was absolutely amazing. It was fun to see Deborah Cox because we've done so many shows together. And just opening for Kylie was pretty magical. And then I got to see Kevin Aviance, and he did a cameo on the front of my show, which was a full circle moment because Kevin Aviance, many, many times when I'd play New York, would come out first and be on stage and just live to the organ intro of Feel What You Want. And that was fun. We got to recreate some, those moments, at the Roxy and at the Limelight and, all those places.
I found that your set on YouTube. Loved the opening, stepping back in time, as you said, to the Sound Factory, Palladium, XL. You gave me chills just naming them all. Do you remember which was your first club?
I believe my first club would have been, I want to say, what was the biggest one? Palladium, right?
Palladium, Roxy at the time.
Yeah, I don't think it was the Roxy, but
Roxy might not have been. Palladium was first for sure.
I think Palladium it was, but it was really crazy because they thought I came out and they thought I was a drag queen because, I came out in this fluffy little skirt and a bustier, and they didn't expect this person to be singing "Feel What You Want." I think they thought I was going to be a black girl, which
totally.
Which I was used to because it happened all the time in London, but I'd never performed it in the United States, and I didn't realize how famous it was here. But the agent at the time, he was like, "You got to get to New York. Your song is blowing up, and you have to be here." And I'm like, "I can't. My Vegas show." And he's like, "Well, we'll book you on a Sunday. You're off. You're dark on Sunday." I was like, "Okay, well, this is going to be crazy. You got to get me from Vegas to there." And he said, "Well, don't worry. You're not going to perform until 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday Monday morning, basically." I was like, "Really?" And then that's how the party started. Yeah, I came out there with and then I came out there and it was all quiet. Nobody clapped, nobody nothing. And until about halfway, 3/4 of the way down, and I started talking, I started this, and just really proving it was me singing. But I'll tell you, that was a pretty tense time.
Oh, that's got to be scary. That's got to be. My husband just commented. He said, "I saw her at the Palladium and she wore a gown made of bubble wrap."
I did. I sure did. I still have it. We won't be wearing it in 115-degree weather.
Whoa, you'd end up in the hospital if you put that on out in Vegas.
Sure would. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh.
So you were named number 8 greatest dance artist of all time and the number 3 greatest from the last decade, trailing behind Madonna and Beyonce. I know I'm not Kristine W, and that feels great to me. What does that feel like?
No, that was pretty cool. And that's fantastic, honestly. Because I never really think about accolades. I just keep going and going and going, and then people will point out, "Did you know that you had 7 #1 dance hits on the Power Music album?" I'll be like, "No." You know what I mean? Like, really? Do I? Yeah. So I'm so proud. I'm just really proud. I'm proud of all the songwriters that I've written with. I'm proud of the remixers and the producers, and just proud of all my dancers and my singers, all the people that have been by my side. There we go again with that song, "By My Side."
Yeah, totally. Totally.
And yeah.
When when a song is remixed, do you always have approval, or do they just get to remix a song?
I used to not get approval on my remixes, but now since I have my own label, I've had my own label since 2008. So yeah, no, pick everything. Since '08, everything has been under my, you know.
Talk about the decision to do that, to put everything under your own label.
Well, I think kind of because of what you were saying. I mean, things, you never really had control of anything, you know. Things would get released or not released, or they'd put things out and you'd go, oh, that wasn't the best move right now. That wasn't the best mix. That should.
Ooh. Hello? Did Kristine's device die? Was it not on the charger? Hello, hello? I don't know if hopefully we'll get Kristine back. She might have to plug in her device. I don't know. I hope we didn't lose her. Where did she go? I don't know where she went. It says she's there, but I don't know if her device was plugged in. So hopefully her device is plugged in. Hopefully we'll get her back. Oh, there she is, but you're on mute. You're on mute. There you go.
Are we all right?
Yes. Did you?
What happened? That was crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know if you weren't plugged in.
No,
If your device,
what happened?
it could have been the internet. Could have been the internet. But basically, you wanted to take control of your own music, which is, you know,
yeah.
you're writing it.
I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. But I think in '08, I was just kind of frustrated with everything that was going on. And I was like, I don't know how to start my own label. I have no idea what I am doing, but I'm probably going to die trying. So here we go. And
what was the hardest thing for you to navigate?
It was so difficult. Just starting, you know what I mean? Like, it was very difficult for anybody you couldn't really call anybody about it because nobody was really talking about it openly. It was not something that was a popular thing to do. Like, and then you couldn't really call anybody at the labels and say, hey, I'm going to start my own label. And they'd be like, you probably shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? The advice was kind of don't do it at that point. Because then you have to pay for everything. You have to do everything yourself. You're not going to be able to do this. Like, it's really going to be, it's too much. Like, you're not going to be able to do it, basically, is kind of what I was told, you know? And then I was like, well, if I'm going to work this hard and, you know, and throw myself all over the planet, like, I'm going to try to figure this out. So, I mean, I'd love to partner, but still, I would love to partner with someone if you know, and I still think about, you know, partnering with other people. But at that time, I think I just needed to get all my music and get it streamlined. And I needed to put out that Power of Music album. I needed to prove to myself that I could do it, you know. And then when I got 7 #1 Billboard hits off of it in a row, I was like, holy cow, you know what I mean? I can't believe I did this off the seat of my pants in my house, you know, like, how did this happen? You know, and it was so much work, but it was very healing, gratifying.
That's awesome. Well, here we are 15 years later. Best move you made?
I think it was the best move I made, basically just to get the amount of music out that I wanted to get out. Like, nobody would have financed the Straight Up with a Twist album. Nobody would have done it. I don't think I could have talked the label into, I'm a dance artist with 17 #1 hits. Now I'm going to flip all those songs into jazz tunes. Like, they weren't ready to think like that at that time. So, I mean, now people are doing it, but it was way before anybody was thinking any of that could be monetized or was a smart move. And so, I mean, I just used all of my performance money, all of the money from my shows, and just sunk it all back into creating content and music. And it was it's really been cool. And the Christmas album, I mean, that was fun too. Hey, Mr. Christmas. You know, a lot of work.
all you talented women need to come together, and we need a woman-run music studio.
That'd be fun. That'd be super fun. Our record label ran by all females.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty
right.
fun.
A record. That's what I. Yes, completely. I mean, think
But
think about.
I mean, I'll tell you, we could not do this music without guys like James Herman,
Oh,
my producer right now. He is so talented, and guys like Hex Hector, Tony Moran, there's Lee Dagger and Chris Cox. I mean, we have so many talented men, producers and remixers all over the place. They blow me away. So music really, to me, it's not a man or a female thing. It's a us thing. And we've got everybody in in my tribe. I mean, just scooped and nuts, everything you can even imagine. So it's really gratifying.
Well, speaking of tribes, I mean, you have such a great connection with your fans, and especially with my, community, the LGBTQ plus community. How do you feel about what's happening around the country with the drag conversation, the trans conversation, the don't say gay BS? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think we've come, from when I started, 30 years ago or whatever, beating the drum. We've come a really long way, I mean, I'm really proud that most of my boyfriends have been able to get married. Some of them are divorced, just like me. They got kids just like me. It makes me
Which you
feel
couldn't
good.
have imagined 30 years ago, really.
No. I mean, you could not. No way. You know what I mean? It seemed so far away. So it's gratifying, and I've been in the clubs with drag queens for years, performing side by side with them. All of us taping our boobs up and taping our whatnots and getting our wigs on and putting our whatever. Let's get this up. What are we doing? I mean, I've learned so much from drag queens about makeup and glamour and everything. And, RuPaul is a dear friend of mine, and so many of them, Laritza Dumont and, James Elaine Lancaster, Lady Bunny. These people are a big part of my life, and there's so many more. I mean, I could be here all day talking about fabulous Bianca Del Rio. I mean, what an amazing person. And she was playing Fire Island. I'd pull up in the boat and do a show, and she'd be there doing comedy, and I'd just be like, oh my gosh, she is just as good as I mean, on the level of Joan Rivers. I mean, her comedy,
100%.
Yeah, just
one of the
so
funniest people I've ever
met, right? Oh my gosh, just sit there, just in awe of her, and every time I'd see her, I'd just be just more smitten. I just adore her. And there's so many people like that are so talented. So the whole, I just think we've gotten into a bad habit of weaponizing different, tearing each other down. Yeah, no. Just creating conflict, just creating drama where it doesn't need to happen. Just it's kind of overwhelming, and at some point it kind of gets even silly. Like, who's afraid of a drag queen, really? Like, have you ever really been to a really great funny ass drag show? If you have, it's not threatening at all. I mean, I don't know. People blow up things in their mind, and it's
that is a perfect, shut them down comment. Exactly.
I mean, I just had my birthday party. Basically spent my birthday in Dallas by my choice. I was like, yeah, I want to play the Metro Ball. It's my birthday. Let's go. And they had an impromptu, crazy birthday party for me upstairs in the Rose Room with all the fabulous drag queens. We had so much fun. It was hilarious, and I just, so I just all of it baffles me. I'm baffled.
Oh, me too, Kristine. Me too.
Like, really?
Do you have a favorite Kristine W song?
I think Someone Watching Over Me is one of my is up there with one of my favorites. It's a great message. Someone watching over me, especially now. There's Land of the Living is really special. You know, Patti LaBelle, that got her through some really rough times in her life, and
Oh,
I
wow.
think that's a song of survival and you know, grateful heart, glad to be alive. You know, in the land of the living. Can't believe I've survived. Still here in the land of the living. That's you know, sometimes we do tend to take life for granted until, you know, somebody checks out and we go, oh, it went that fast. The party was over that quick, you know. So I do think we tend to take it all for granted, and it's a good song to remind us to celebrate every day and celebrate each other while we're here too, as well, you know. So
Amen. Amen to that one.
yeah,
You have performed all over the world, different, you know, we talked about Jones Beach, you just mentioned Dallas. Is there a show that in your heart is one of your faves for whatever reason?
I think Brazil was one of those moments where I was in Brazil. Everybody's speaking Portuguese all around me. You know what I mean? There was very few people that even spoke English, and then the show goes on, and then I break into Wonder of It All, which was a huge hit there, and they're all singing in English to me, and I just, yeah, that was powerful.
The hair on your arm stands
Yeah.
up.
I had my guitar and I was just like, my knees are getting weak. I'm going to buckle right now, you know. It was cool.
Wow. Well, I think this is one of your friends, Ced's back, or Cedric says, yes, darling. So glad to call you a friend. First time I saw you with my sister at the House of Blues, like all the boys, we were shocked when you were a white woman.
Yeah, that was so funny. I got so used to it, you know, showing up everywhere, and they go, "Oh, you're white." I'd be like, "Sorry," you know. It'd be like, you know, almost like they were like, "Oh, you're white." It was like, but yeah. So, but it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're working on new music. Is there a possible date for the album, or?
I think we're gonna try to get it out sooner than later. We're gonna master another one of the songs tomorrow, and we just got mixes in on from Brazil of all places. We're just talking about my emotional moment there in Brazil. Kind of makes me miss that a little bit, but we've got a Brazilian remixer that did a great tribal mix. I'm excited about it.
Oh, that.
Yeah, I know the boys are gonna love it, so that makes me happy. And that's going to be coming out here soon. And the album it's a good one. It's a great one. We've been working on it for 3 years now. Started working on it in 2020. Yeah, in early 2020, February 2020. So it's
And
really,
I heard
really
you, I think on Fox in New York, on Good Day New York. Are you doing a video for By My Side?
Yes, we are. I was just on the phone with Jeffrey about that. Yep, we've got some of the fun footage is already in the can, and we're just going to do the glamour shot next, and then, you know, it's just going to be more of like a fun video about people being by our side and friendships and togetherness. Yeah, just kind of more like an uplifting, fun video.
And you have 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
Are they following in mom's footsteps at all?
They're more business leaning, I would say. Yeah, I would say they're a little bit more in the business side of things. My son has been working on American Horror Story with,
Wow.
on the set lately. He had a lot of fun. And with Firefly Productions, which is William White, great producer, great guy. And so he's been working with William there in California. My daughter is a financial analyst now.
Wow.
Her new job, yeah, and yeah, they both graduated from college now, so this is good.
That's
This is
awesome.
good. Yeah, just turn them on, get out there and do it.
Support mom down the road.
So yeah, you just cheer them on and hope that they find, I hope that they find whatever that is, that passion, that purpose, and that passion. You know, that's what makes life worthwhile, and that's what gets you out of bed and gets you fired up, and something fantastic that motivates you. So, yeah.
Such a pleasure to sit down with you, Kristine. Love your
Ellen,
music.
you're awesome.
Love your.
You're
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you so much. I hope you.
I have to ask you. Working on as the world turns and doing all of that, like, how were you able to keep your sanity? That's a lot. What do you? I mean, have yoga, deep breathing?
No, I don't. It's very funny. A lot of people ask me how I manage all of those personalities. I think I think I'm a people person, and I'm just able to navigate. But it was a lot, because it wasn't just cast members. It was also, when you're the PR person on a show, you have to deal with the producers, writers, everybody. It's not just so. It was a lot of juggling. Like you juggle.
Yeah. Yeah, you're amazing. I'm just, I'm happy that we got to do this. I love you, man. You're the greatest.
I am too. I am too. And I hope that my husband and I can come see you in New York next time you perform. So let us know when that is.
Cannot wait. I will buy the champagne. We are doing it. Yes.
Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much.
You too, Alan. Love you.
Love you. Bye-bye. Thanks everybody for tuning in today. For more information on Kristine W, go to KristineW.com. Please join me next Tuesday evening. Please join me next Tuesday evening to meet director and producer Dan Watt. Dan's documentary, Everybody Dance, follows 5 kids with different disabilities, their families, and dance teacher for 10 months on their journey through life and toward their final dance recital. And then next Thursday, July 27th, Ryan's Hopes, Helen Gallagher, and Malcolm Groom will sit down with me. And a week from today, actor J. Eddie Peck. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do so down below. Turn on the notifications for reminders of all upcoming shows. And as always, please stay safe and have a wonderful weekend.